Enough is enough. The war on drugs is lost. We've been fighting this battle for far too long, and the results are clear. The war on drugs, total failure. Billions of dollars have been poured into this effort, yet the problem persists, growing worse by the day. We've spent decades and billions of dollars fighting it, and for what? Drug use is rampant. Overdoses are at an all-time high, our emergency rooms are overflowing, and families are being torn apart. Something's broken, folks. It's time to admit defeat and try a new approach, one that actually works. Legalization, regulation. These aren't just buzzwords, they're strategies that have shown promise in other parts of the world. It's not about going easy on drugs, it's about smart policies that focus on harm reduction, education, and treatment rather than punishment. Look, I get it. Drugs are bad, but throwing money and people in jail hasn't solved anything. If anything, it's made things worse. Our prisons are overcrowded, and the cycle of addiction and incarceration continues. We're locking up our own citizens, destroying families, and for what? So some guy in a suit can say he's tough on crime? Give me a break. This isn't about being tough, it's about being effective. It's time for a reality check. Prohibition doesn't work. It didn't work with alcohol, and it's not working with drugs. History has shown us that banning substances only drives them underground. All it does is create a massive black market where criminals get rich and innocent people get hurt. The violence and corruption that come with this black market are tearing communities apart. We need to be smarter than this. We need to be better than this. Our approach should be rooted in compassion and science, not fear and punishment. It's time to end the war on drugs and start treating drug use as the public health issue it is. Let's invest in education, treatment, and community support. Let's build a future where we address the root causes of drug abuse and offer real solutions. Let's talk dollars and cents. The numbers are staggering and the impact is profound. In 2019 alone, we blew through $35.4 billion on drug enforcement. That's a colossal amount of money. To put it in perspective, that's more than we spend on education. Imagine the schools we could build, the teachers we could hire, and the resources we could provide for our children. And what do we have to show for it? Record drug use and skyrocketing overdose rates. The problem isn't getting better, it's getting worse. Think about it. That's your tax dollars going to arrest, prosecute, and incarcerate people for something that should be a personal choice. We're criminalizing behavior instead of addressing the root causes. We're locking up over 40,000 people just for marijuana possession. That's a staggering number of lives disrupted. That's more than the entire population of some small towns. Imagine an entire town's worth of people behind bars for something as minor as marijuana possession. And once you have a drug conviction on your record, good luck getting a job, finding housing, or rebuilding your life. The stigma follows you everywhere. We're not just punishing individuals, we're tearing apart families and communities. The ripple effects are devastating. Meanwhile, Colorado, a state that legalized recreational marijuana, raked in $423 million in tax revenue in 2021 alone. That's a significant boost to their economy. They're using that money to fund schools, build roads, and improve their communities. The benefits are tangible and far-reaching. We can do that too, folks. We have the power to change our approach and see real positive outcomes. It's time to stop flushing money down the drain and start investing in real solutions. Let's redirect our resources to where they can make a real difference. Here's a news flash. The war on drugs isn't just about drugs. It's about money, power, and control. And where there's big money, there's bound to be violence, corruption, and a whole underground economy. Prohibition creates a lucrative black market where gangs and cartels fight ruthlessly for control and dominance. And guess who gets caught in the crossfire? That's right, innocent people, families, and entire communities. When you make something illegal, you drive up the price, making it more profitable for criminals. And when the price goes up, the stakes get higher, leading to more dangerous and desperate actions. Suddenly you've got turf wars, drive-by shootings, and a whole lot of violence spilling out onto our streets, affecting everyone. Legalization takes the power away from the criminals, reducing their influence and reach. It allows us to regulate the market, control the supply, ensure safety, and undercut the black market. It's not about endorsing drug use, it's about making our communities safer, healthier, and more secure for everyone. Ever wonder why illegal drugs are so expensive? It's not because they're hard to make. The truth is, producing drugs is relatively cheap. The real reason they cost so much is because of prohibition. Think about it. When you criminalize something, you create a whole underground industry. Suddenly you've got smugglers, dealers, and distributors all demanding their cut. And guess who ends up paying the price? That's right, the end user. A regulated market would drive down prices, making it much less appealing for people to buy from the black market. It's basic economics, folks. Section 5, green means go, legalizations, economic boom. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the economic benefits of legalization. Remember that $35.4 billion we're wasting on enforcement? Imagine if we could redirect that money to treatment programs, education and job creation. Legalization wouldn't just save us money, it would create jobs. We're talking about a whole new industry here, folks. From farmers to dispensary owners to lab technicians, the possibilities are endless. And let's not forget about the tax revenue. Colorado's already shown us what's possible. We can use that money to fund vital social programs, improve our schools, and invest in our communities. Legalization is not just good policy, it's good economics. Section 6, Portugal's example decriminalization works. But John, you might be saying, won't legalization lead to more drug use? Well, let's look at the evidence. In 2001, Portugal took a radical step. They decriminalized all drugs, not just marijuana, all drugs. And you know what happened? The sky didn't fall. In fact, Portugal saw a significant decrease in drug-related deaths, HIV infections, and overall drug use. They treated addiction as a health issue, not a criminal one. And it worked. Portugal's experiment is proof that we don't have to arrest our way out of this problem. We can choose compassion over incarceration, and we can get better results. Section 7, regulation is key safety first. Now, before you go lighting up a joint in the middle of Times Square, let's be clear. Legalization doesn't mean a free-for-all. We're talking about regulation. We're talking about age restrictions, potency limits, and strict quality control. Just like with alcohol and tobacco, we can create a system that allows adults to make their own choices while protecting our kids and ensuring public safety. We can regulate the production, sale, and consumption of drugs to minimize harm and maximize benefits. Section 8, education, not fear, the right message. Remember those cheesy, "this is your brain on drugs" commercials? Yeah, those didn't work. Scaring people into submission doesn't work. We need to do better. We need honest, fact-based drug education. Let's teach our kids about the risks of drug use, but let's also teach them how to make responsible choices. Let's provide them with the information they need to make informed decisions about their own bodies and their own lives. Section 9. Time for change, support drug policy reform. The war on drugs is a failed experiment. It's time to admit defeat and try something new. Legalization with smart regulation is the only way to reduce harm, save lives, and create a more just and equitable society. It's time to stand up for what's right. It's time to demand change. Contact your elected officials and tell them to support drug policy reform. Let's end this senseless war and start building a better future.